Good morning, guys, and welcome to the Camp Financial Stock Market Update for December the 15th. And so yesterday, let's just take a look at yesterday's charts. So basically, pretty limited volume through the morning session up until 2 o'clock when the Fed spoke. So when Janet Yellen went on TV there a little after noon, or a little after 2 p.m. Eastern time, we saw a quick retreat down in the markets. Pretty much all of them, and most of them ended fairly close to their session low. That's for the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500, all three, after being flat basically until 2 o'clock. And so what led to that? Well, so everybody expected the rate hike, right? I mean, it's been pretty much baked in for quite some time that we were going to get a 0.25% added to the Fed funds rate as of this meeting. Where the concern and what added to the major volatility and choppiness after her speech was she indicated that they're looking at 3 rate hikes next year versus where the market had kind of priced in there'd be just 2 rate hikes next year. So I don't have a problem with 3. If the market is really, I mean, I guess not the market, but if the economy is really heating up the way, that they're indicating, I mean, based on inflation, then it makes sense to raise rates 3 times. I don't see a problem with that. Pull the heat map up here real quick. Mostly red. You got some outliers in there, some decent green in the mix. Fox, 21st Century Fox up 3.6%. Let's see which one is this. Is this IBM? Oh no, Akamai, aka AM. I couldn't see the ticker symbol there. Up a couple percent. Progressive up 2%. Go over to the healthcare. Healthcare actually had a fairly decent day. Alexion Pharmaceuticals up 3.1%. Vertex up 2.26%, and Gilead up 1.16%. Bristol Myers up 2.33%. And that's pretty much it on your bright reds. Nvidia was up 5.79%. And Nvidia is one of those stocks, they've just been on an absolute tear this year. A lot of red in the utility sector, bunch of red in the independent oil and gas, which again kind of makes sense. Oil prices started to retreat a little bit yesterday, so it would make sense that they followed suit. And fairly flat in most of the technology. You got a pretty good mix in the financials. There's, flats and reds. There's not a lot of green, but a lot of flat, a lot of red. Not a lot of bright red. Not a whole lot of them had terrible days, other than probably the worst in the financial would be the healthcare real estate investment trusts. So that kind of gives us a little look around the market as a whole. I do want to go back, take a look at a couple other things here real quick. So yesterday, which this is still interesting, and this is what's kind of, I think the new highs versus new lows is more important than the amount of stocks that advance and decline in a single day. So if we look at advancing, declining, you've got 1,352 advanced and 5,336 stocks declined, and that's in the, I believe it's the NYSE. I'm trying to remember. There's three things that NYSE, Nasdaq, and the AMX exchanges. But 293 hit new highs versus 100 hitting new lows. So you still got, a fair amount of bullishness in the new highs versus new lows. Take a look. So there's a few earnings coming out today before the market opens. You've got Rite Aid. It's going to announce their earnings. I mean, they've been on a tear. That's one that's, they're just in the mix of whether or not they're ever going to get approval potentially to be purchased by, I believe it's CVS that's purchasing them. It might be Walgreens, but I'm pretty sure it's CVS. Axalta Coating Systems. So this is one, actually, I was in it last year for a little bit of time when I found out Warren Buffett was purchasing shares in their company. I don't know if he's still buying, but the stock's pretty much held flat. I mean, it looks like a typical Warren Buffett purchase where your expectation is that over the long run it is going to grow significantly, and he's just going to bide his time until it takes off. So after the market today, we've got Oracle is going to announce their results. So if you look over 3 months, their stock price is pretty much flat. They had actually dropped down to about 38 bucks a share, and run up after the election to the end of November, when they sold off again back down to 38.50 right to begin December, and have been on looks like about a 9-day winning streak, to put it back up to just shy of 41 bucks a share. So that'll be one that'll be interesting to watch after, as well as Adobe Systems, who has been indicating that they've had a pretty good last month as well. So it looks like most of the big companies that are still going to be coming out. Looks like all the other ones are all fairly small. It's not going to have major impacts, obviously, on the market as a whole. So with that, let's take a look over. So I was trying to look at some of the insider purchases, buys, insider sells. Nothing really there that companies that I know, mostly small companies. And that brings us to our last thing for today. Is we've got a couple of announcements coming out today, and so they are the core CPI, the consumer price index, basically the inflation, how the Fed tracks it. The Philadelphia Fed's going to have an announcement today. Let's see, what else do we got in here? Natural gas inventory comes out after the market opens. That won't be out till about 10:30. It looks like we're going to have the initial and continuing jobless claims coming out today as well. So a fair amount of economic data is going to be coming out. It's going to, impact the market potentially. But really, again, in my opinion, it all comes back to if you understand why you're buying stock, why you're buying a certain stock. As long as that story hasn't changed, a lot of this other stuff is just kind of noise, and you just need to focus on making sure that you're buying at the right price with the intention of getting out at the, at whatever price you're going to get out, um, and letting it run from there. So that is it for today, guys. Take care, and we will see you next time.